members. This session is about labor, manpower development, and retirement protection. We welcome the Secretary for Labor and Welfare, Mr. Chris Sun, and his team for joining us. I will now invite the Secretary to deliver the opening remarks, and then I will open the floor for questions. Members who wish to speak, please press the Request to Speak button now. Secretary, you have the floor. Thank you. The recurrent government spending on labor and manpower development in 2026-27 is estimated to be $3,560 million, an increase of about $120 million, or 3.3% over the revised estimate of $3,450 million last year. I will highlight our key areas of work here. First, using artificial intelligence to optimize job matching. The Labor Department will optimize the job matching function of the Interactive Employment Service website and its mobile app by adopting artificial intelligence for analysis and job matching, and personalized employment and vocational training information for job seekers. That service is expected to be rolled out in phases in mid-2027 at the soonest. On promoting the employment of elderly and middle-aged persons, the provision of the allowances under the Reemployment Allowance Pilot Scheme will increase to $222 million in 2026-27. The LD is conducting a midterm review of the REA scheme along with the employment program for the elderly and the middle-aged to explore measures to encourage the employment of these persons. That review is expected to be completed in the second half of this year. On the enhanced supplementary labor scheme, the LD is reviewing the scheme. We want to complete the review in the second half of this year. For that reason, the LWB, while conducting the midterm review update of the manpower projection, we will give priority to the analytical results about imported labor. Now, the work injury compensation mechanism for digital platform workers is top of mind for many. We are drafting new legislation for that to provide a statutory compensation scheme for digital platform workers. The focus will be on platform workers in food and or goods delivery services. The LD is pressing ahead with the law drafting. Our goal is to submit the legislative proposal to LegCo this year. On occupational safety and health, the government is working at full speed on a smoking ban on construction site. Our target is to submit the draft bill to LegCo for deliberations by the middle of this year. At the same time, we will revise codes of practice. We all know about the toll boards. We will set out requirements about the materials so that there is sufficient material strength to prevent workers and objects from falling off the scaffolding, while also reducing fire risks. Besides, the LD will continue to enhance mandatory safety training courses and organize courses and seminars and online forums on occupational safety and health to raise OSH awareness. Another area top of mind for many is talent attraction. On this front, as at the end of February this year, nearly 280,000 people in various industries from far and wide were attracted to Hong Kong for career development under various talent admission schemes. These professionals and their families have a positive impact on Hong Kong's labor force and add new impetus to the local economy. While trawling for talent, the government also focuses on retaining talent. Last year, around 71,000 applications for extension of stay were received under various talent admission schemes. Of these, roughly 66,000 were approved, exceeding the annual key performance target by 32%. The government will continue to closely monitor the progress of extensions of stay under these talent admission schemes. To address the acute manpower shortage in the local skilled trades, we introduced a new channel under the General Employment Policy and the Admission Scheme for Mainland Talent and Professionals on the 30th of June last year to allow young and experienced non-degree workers with relevant professional qualifications to come here to join the skilled sectors with the labor crunch. As at the end of February this year, a total of more than 700 applications had been received, with around 550 approved. We will review this arrangement a year after its implementation. Non-local students who have completed eligible full-time higher diploma programs under the vocational professional admission scheme can apply for staying in Hong Kong for 1 year to seek jobs relevant to their disciplines. The first cohort of students will graduate in the middle of this year. The VTC, or Vocational Training Council, will strengthen support for such graduates for them to seek jobs relevant to their disciplines to ease the manpower shortage in the local vocational and professional trades. Hong Kong Talent Engage will continue to promote Hong Kong's strength and attract talent around the world. They will also provide comprehensive one-stop support for incoming workers and get them to stay and pursue development in Hong Kong. The budget this year proposed upgrading the Employees Retraining Board into Upskill Hong Kong to reflect its enhanced functions in promoting continuous learning and upskilling upon reform. The Labour and Welfare Bureau will introduce an amendment bill to the Legislative Council in the second half of this year. That's to enable the ERB to implement the reform measures in full. The ERB will be renamed after the legislative amendments take effect. To encourage more young people to take part in apprenticeship programs and to join the relevant trades, each registered apprentice for a period of 3 years starting from 2024 to 25 is provided with an additional training allowance of $1,000 per month, and graduates will receive funding for enrolling in upskilling courses of relevant trades. Meanwhile, the VTC also receives subvention to organize short in-service training courses to meet market demand. We have already started a midterm update of the manpower projection, using the latest situation in 2025 as a basis to update the projection for 2028. The midterm update will focus on analyzing the latest global and local developments, including changes in the economy and the rapid adoption of artificial intelligence, and that will help us update our projection. The results of the midterm update are expected to come out in the fourth quarter this year. Chairman, I will stop here for my opening remarks. I welcome questions from members. 14 members are waiting to speak. I will read out their names: Mr. Lee Kuang-yu, Mr. Ken Wong, Mr. Rock Chen, Mr. Lothair Lam, Mr. Lam Chen-sing, Mr. Chong Pyu-kong, Mr. Jonathan Leung, Mr. Alan Chen, Mr. Jonathan Lamport, Mr. Chen Chao Siu-chung, Ms. Grace Chen, Mr. Kingsley Wong, Mr. Holden Chow, and Mr. Ray Wong. Let's do 4 minutes per member. Questions and answers inclusive. Mr. Lee Kuang-yu. Thank you. L049. My own question. As the Secretary said, the Labor Department will use AI to enhance job matching. So can the government tell us whether they will use the data from the Interactive Employment Service website to conduct a multidimensional analysis of the labor market? So can we look at the demand? There are job postings out there for a long time, and then we have many job seekers but few openings. Can we also look at the success rate in job matching? So what are some popular postings but with few applications? And what are some skills gaps we have? So do we have requirements common to many postings, but it turns out that job seekers generally lack these skills? Such analysis can help the government make adjustments. So we can promote jobs where we have the skills in demand. Now, Upskills Hong Kong is something I look forward to. How can we get our vocational training to better match the skill gaps in the market? Do we have a timetable? Do we have indicators about using big data to achieve greater success with AI-based job matching? Thank you. Secretary. I thank Mr. Lee for his questions. I want to invite the Commissioner for Labor to take those questions. Thank you. We're adopting AI in employment services. Our direction of travel is broadly the same as that suggested by Mr. Lee. So we're working on the proof of concept. And then we will be training our AI model. That's for more accurate matching. Part of that big data is based on the data from our IES website. So that's the footprint of the users, and that will be the data for us to train the model. Our goal is to offer personalized job matching. So in what we envision, there will be selection for the job seekers to find the job they want. We also want our model to give advice to job seekers. Job seekers will get to know what other job seekers with a similar background are looking for. And job seekers will also get a sense of the jobs where there are many postings. Job seekers will also get a sense of suitable vocational training based on their professional background. So that's our direction of travel. Around the middle of next year, the new system of the IES will take shape, and then we can further enhance the system with big data. So when you make changes to the training programs in the future, you can rely on the data so that you can tweak the courses accordingly. Mr. Ken Wong, I have two questions in mind, 119. The other one is 129 from Mr. Kazev Tem. Now for my own question, it's about the dependence of incoming talent. And education for such children can foster social cohesion. And this is a matter top of mind for the education sector. The government said it does not have a database on the dependence of incoming talent. It also does not have the data on the age breakdown of such dependents. Will the government consider compiling a comprehensive database for us to get a better sense of the needs of the dependents, children, and also the resources so that we can do a better job in policy planning? We're in an economic transition. Different industries need to upgrade and transform themselves. And the government also commits resources to continuous learning. We should enhance existing measures in supporting continuous learning. Take the Continuous Education Fund. Now let's look at 129. There are 980,000 CEF accounts, a quarter of it, roughly 249,000 account holders never used any such funding. Only 1.3%, that's roughly 12,000 accounts, used up their $25,000 being the maximum subsidy. So for the unused funding, can we do a survey to find out why people don't use the funding? Can we step up publicity? Apart from existing search tools, can we go on the offensive in promoting the fund? Thank you. Secretary, the first question has to do with more accurate stats on the dependence of incoming workers under talent admission schemes. Those talent admission schemes are about the professionals themselves. As for the dependents who are minors of these professionals, they will need education. Now for the children of expats, those children stay at international schools. We don't have the overall statistics, but we do have more surveys done under the Top Talent Pass scheme. That's because we believe people coming in under the Top Talent Pass scheme are looking to stay here for the long haul. We're trying to get more information on that front, but we cannot force people to disclose information about their children to us. So we do what we can. We try to get as much information as we can. And that's for policy planning. Now, the other question has to do with the CEF. That fund has been around for a long time. The public is aware of the fund. For various reasons, people decide not to tap into the subsidy yet. If we can think of a way to find out more about that. The government proposed the CEF because the government wants people to seek enhancement by using the subsidy. There are many reasons at play. We focus on promotion and we will keep working on this.
Mr. Rock Chen, thank you, Chair. I want to follow up on link 085 and 087. Both are about talents. For 085, in the table in the reply, there are some performance indicators for the Hong Kong talent engaged for social media hits. In 2026, it should be approximately 100 million. And in 2025, it was approximately 48 million. And the government's estimate is $10 million. With the same budget, why do we expect such an exponential growth? I also want to ask about 087. The total expenditure for the talent engaged is $89.1 million. Would the government have a breakdown for the different categories of expenses, publicity, support services, expanding the partner networks? How much of the expenditure will be used on administrative operating costs as well as staff costs? Thank you. I would want Mr. Chen from the talent engaged to answer the relevant questions. We do have a target of double the number of hits on social media. It's because in March of this year, we held the Global Talent Summit Week. And as you may know, the event was very effective in promoting Hong Kong as an international hub for talents. We had a forum, we had an expo, we also had 9 satellite activities. Because of that exposure, because of that event, we had quite an increased exposure. The member also asked about the budget for 2026-2027. The budget is approximately $89 million, and the personal allowance is approximately $46 million. We have for other expenses $42 million approximately. We have mainly plans for to use the expenditure for social media and news promotion. We have approximately $10 million for that. We also plan to expand the partner networks. That will be approximately $4 million. We are also trying to have delegation visits with different leaders and employers, and that would cost approximately $7.7 million. Thank you. Captain Luther Lam. Thank you, Chair. I would want to follow up on 2 questions. First, on 095, that's my question. We have FIPAs to try to attract non-local graduates to stay in Hong Kong for work, and we can see there's still a manpower gap in certain occupations, especially in transport and logistics. We have also seen a decline in the number of students admitted, specifically non-local students. I hope that the government and the VTC can do more to attract more students to study the relevant course. So we will have the first batch of graduates this year. Additional resources have been reserved for employment services and job matching. Did the government estimate how many of the students will actually stay in Hong Kong for work? I also want to ask about 016's question of Mr. Cheng Pui-kong about enhanced supplementary labor scheme. I understand some enterprises said they have submitted an application in November. 5 months afterwards, right now, it has yet to be approved. It can really affect the operations of enterprises. Does the supplementary labor division have additional manpower? I hope the government can expedite the processing so that employers can import the labor they need. Thank you. Secretary. Thank you, Captain Lam, for your questions. We will see the first batch of graduates of FIPAs because we launched this arrangements 2 years ago. We will have the VTC help non-local graduates who have studied the specific fields to stay in Hong Kong. We wanted them to come to Hong Kong to study in the first place because we wanted to fill the manpower gap of the specific traits. Please rest assured, we are trying to have a win-win situation here. I'm sure students want to work in Hong Kong when they have come to Hong Kong to study. They have studied 2 years of education in Hong Kong, they would most likely want to have careers there. We will gauge the effectiveness of the arrangements because this is the first year. We will make a report in due course. Perhaps we will make a report after mid-year because we have yet to even get to mid-year. Now, with enhanced supplementary labor scheme, I cannot discuss individual applications here, but most applications can be dealt with within a specified period. As Captain Luther Lam talked about specific case, we can't really disclose the specific details about the case, but outside the council, we can perhaps disclose more details and see if there are any specific issues we have to iron out. This is not a policy issue, I would say. Thank you. Mr. Lam Chen Sing, thank you, Chair. I want to ask about 008 and 096. With the enhanced supplementary labor scheme, we have imported over 100,000 workers. The government does have dynamic assessments, but can we be even more dynamic? We have adopted a dynamic approach for the supply of junior cooks and waiters or waitresses. I understand there will be a comprehensive review in the middle of this year. But apart from a comprehensive review, can we have some dynamic assessments, say every 6 months, so that we will have a better understanding of the situation of different occupations, the manpower ratio, the manpower cap, so as to better protect local workers in certain trades. On 096, we have for the talent list, no application has been approved for green shipping talents. We don't have any approvals for the legal field as well as certain other occupations, as well as optometrists and dental hygienists. Is there room for a review of the talent list to see if the requirements are too stringent that we would want one to know both AI and law, because I think that's what the law engineer occupation is about. Can we also get rid of some of the occupations if the situation warrants it? Thank you. Secretary, thank you, Mr. Lam Chen Sing, for the questions. What the member expressed is in line with our stance. We do have dynamic adjustments to the enhanced supplementary labor scheme, but we wouldn't do that every few months. We need to go with the actual circumstances. In fact, as you may know, we do not target particular occupation. We have specifically for the F&B industry, junior cooks and waitresses, we have made dynamic adjustments. We have lengthened the local recruitment period from 4 weeks to 6 weeks, and we also asked them to take part in job fairs of the Labor Department so that locals who want to find work can get jobs with them. We saw with the dynamic adjustments, the results have been quite good. We have seen less applications for imported labor in these occupations. But we also want to be prudent. We are monitoring the situation closely. If adjustments are needed, we will make adjustments. Now, with the talent list, we do make adjustments. We haven't really removed any occupations just yet. We want to be prudent. If for different reasons we have not imported workers, we may consider removing them. but we shouldn't limit the scope to just 1 or 2 years. We should take a longer view. We do want to make dynamic adjustments both upwards and downwards if necessary. Thank you. Mr. Chen Pui-Kong, thank you, Chair. I want to ask if the Secretary can coordinate different departments to announce figures on illegal workers. In the past 3 years, the Labor Department conducted 125 joint departmental operations, but I think the Labor Department does not maintain relevant records of, say, arrests made by the Immigration Department and the police force or the prosecution figures. I think to gauge whether we have effectively combated the issue of illegal workers, we need the records to see if we have effective enforcement. So I want to ask if the Bureau will coordinate the Immigration Department and the police force to make available such figures. Excuse me, Mr. Chen, which question are you following up on? 014, excuse me. So I'm asking if the administration will coordinate the Immigration Department and the police force to announce figures on joint operations in several areas, including how many illegal workers have been arrested, how many employers have been arrested, and how many were eventually prosecuted and convicted, and the average sentence. I also want to ask if the Bureau will consider setting up a cross-departmental data reporting mechanism so that the electrical and the public can monitor the effectiveness of the relevant operations. Thank you. Secretary, I believe the question is not exactly for me. He wanted me to ask the relevant departments to provide the specific information. I do note this. I will convey the members' comments to the specific departments. The illegal workers cannot work in Hong Kong, so this is a criminal act. The Labor Department cannot arrest an individual breaching relevant laws. So the law relied on is not the employment ordinance. Instead, it's the immigration ordinance. So it would be under the purview of the immigration department. We do understand where Mr. Chung is coming from. However, I will convey his views to the relevant departments, but it's very hard for the Labor Department to coordinate the disclosure of figures because this is, after all, an enforcement operation. Mr. Jonathan Leung, I want to follow up on 051 and 052 on enhanced supplementary labor scheme. My first question is, in September 2023, the launch of the enhanced supplementary labor scheme, we have now entered a renewal phase. I would like to thank the Labor Department for their support. We held a seminar and many stakeholders in the trade came, and we know the number of imported workers is in a decline, and it often takes long for renewals to be processed. The Labor Department suggested 8 to 9 months would be needed. Can we improve on this, because with the industry schemes arrangements it would only be 2 months and we see a decline? Is there room for enhancements to shorten the approval time? We have quite a lot of mainland students and talents coming to Hong Kong. It has caused an increase in rentals. I believe there was a double-digit increase in the past 2 years. And we have conducted a questionnaire survey. Over 60% of the trade thought that rental would already be past the 10% threshold for deductions. So with the enhanced supplementary labor scheme, can we adjust the ratio for deductions so as to alleviate the burden on the trade? Thank you, Chair Secretary. I will ask the Director to answer the relevant question. Commissioner for Labor.
Mr. Leung's first question is about imported workers who are already here. He asked about the renewal. As our reply explains, it's renewal for the employer. But then we also have to bear in mind that local workers are first in line for local jobs. A renewal application It's just like a fresh application. And accordingly, the local recruitment requirement applies. It's only when an employer cannot hire suitable local workers, and then they can secure the approval in principle, and then they go ahead to recruit outside workers. Now, for employers with imported workers on their payroll, our officers remind these employers to plan ahead. If these employers need imported workers on a long-term basis, and they struggle to hire locally, then they should plan ahead. We encourage employers to plan more than 6 months in advance. Now, but in our experience, when the information is complete, we can complete this vetting process in 3 months' time. But we can look for room for enhancements to the procedure, and if there is, we can raise the efficiency. Mr. Jonathan Leung also mentioned other points. Different things have to go hand in hand. For example, the accommodation. There's deduction for the accommodation costs when it comes to imported workers. In earlier replies, we pledged a review in the middle of this year. We can see if there should be changes, and we will be reviewing that as well. Mr. Alan Chan, thank you. I give credit to Mr. Chris Sun for the reemployment allowance scheme. More than 40,000 people have re-entered the job market. Nearly 10,000 people are over age 60, and those results are impressive. That has unleashed a lot of manpower for Hong Kong. LWBL 001 and 078. Now, on quantifying the boost provided by such workers, 40,000 people have re-entered the labor force, and that is also a boost to the consumption market. We haven't assessed the multiplier effect. So will the Secretary consider teaming up with the CNST and the CEDB on applying statistical analysis to the economic boost of these workers? How much spending has resulted from the fact that these people re-entered the job market, and the data can inform future policies on a silver talent database. For seniors with managerial experience, can we set up dedicated matching databases for them so that businesses can hire these seniors on a project basis as consultants? Now, for jobs at risk of being replacement by AI, can we set up a preventive transitional system? Many clerical and administrative posts will be taken away by AI. If we wait till the existing workers are jobless, that's bad. Can we come up with a preventive system? Can we come up with AI courses to support these people? Secretary, thank you. The first question has to do with the reemployment allowance pilot. The member asked for the figures on the economic boost that this pilot scheme has generated. We don't have the figures yet. We will let the scheme run for a while, and then we come up with a way to arrive at the economic boost from people re-entering the job market. A longitudinal study isn't always warranted. We can find an economist to think about that for us. You need a larger sample size, a larger population, and then we can come up with this economical study. But we will need the conditions to be right. We do thank Mr. Chen for his idea. Now, on whether we can do job matching for silver professionals, this is an interesting idea. We can think about that. People come to us when they want grassroots jobs. But for more senior positions, those people do not come to the Labor Department. We do have various sorts of employment services, but most people who come to the Labor Department for job matching are in the grassroots. We do want to offer assistance to people at the middle ranking or at the upper echelons of the job market. Those people have their own channels, so they rarely come to us. Mr. Chan's idea of a database of professionals, we are open to ideas, but those people rarely come to the Labor Department for help. Now, on the point about AI, we work through Upskill Hong Kong. Mr. Jonathan Lamport. LWL098. It's about the post-50 program at the ERB. There are 2 new programs for those post-50s, as at the end of last year, only 36 people signed up. The frontline jobs and the catering sector are known for being physically demanding, and then for those looking after children in boarding sections, people will have to stay overnight in the wards. I have friends who are in this age group. So can we do a market survey so that we make the programs attractive? And then we can also avoid mismatches. Secretary. The permanent secretary can take this question. I thank the member for his interest in this area. He made a valid point. The current ERB or the future Upskill Hong Kong can do even better by going even deeper in their industry advisory networks or industry consultation networks so that we can project the skills needed in the future. We want to achieve greater success in job matching for people from different age groups. Now, on the post-50 programs, those programs are one among the many job matching and vocational training programs on offer. Now, for the 2 industries Mr. Lamport brought up, from what we know about those sectors, the situation isn't that bad. Our population is aging. On whether we can have more diverse training for people in their 50s to match the needs of the job market, we can take away such comments and we can look into those at the ERB and the future Upskill Hong Kong. Thank you. Mr. Chao Siu-shung. Thank you. 036. It's about work-related injuries related to heat stress. In 2025, work injuries related to heat stress, there were 31 such cases, an increase from the year before. The government rolled out guidelines on heat-related occupational hazards, and the government has done more on this front. But work-related injuries have gone up, and that's worrying. New measures were rolled out. Instead of just 1 location for monitoring heat stress, we will have 10 instead. Well, the success of that arrangement remains to be seen, but this change fails to address the root cause of the issue. The heat stress fails to reflect the heat stress of a particular location. You only get an overall picture. We have made changes to the criteria, and it also remains to be seen whether the warning will be triggered more easily or whether this will become harder. So how do we decide when to issue such a warning? Does it require the reading to exceed a certain level at 3 or 4 stations? Will the warning become harder to trigger? And if that happens, will we change the criteria again? And how do we encourage employers to do their own risk assessment about heat stress so that they can come up with heat stroke prevention measures? Secretary. Mr. Vincent Fong, Deputy Commissioner for Labor, will take the question. On heat stress, there's an underlying principle. We proactively remind all employers to assess the risk when the temperature goes up. They should take different strategies based on different scenarios to prevent heat stroke for their employees. As we have been saying, heat strokes are preventable. Risk assessment can apply to different scenarios. Some employers may be aware that their workplace comes with greater heat stress than other. So those employers can talk to their employees in advance to prevent heat strokes. Those employers are free to adopt other metrics for their analysis. Employers are free to conduct their own assessments because the heat stress we are offering is just an overall picture. Now, on the 10 locations, we're grateful to the Hong Kong Observatory for increasing the measurement spot, and that will give us more data. So when we do put up heat stress warnings, we can benefit from this arrangement. We're considering different situations. Over the past few years, we kept enhancing the heat stress system, and we will see how the new system goes. The weather changes from year to year. We have to consider climate change, and we have to see how things play out in the end. We just want employees to be more aware about the risk of heat stroke. Ms. Grace Chan. 080. Many factors are at play for professionals to come and go. We all want to continuously enhance our talent admission schemes. So can the government secure more funding for longer-term tracking studies so that we get a better picture of where professionals are going and why they are leaving, so that we can plan for the future? Secretary. Thank you. We have conducted extra data analysis for people under the Top Talent Pass scheme. For people who come here, we want them to contribute to the economy. They have to meet the requirements before they can secure renewal of their visa. We want them to contribute to our economy. That's our primary goal behind the talent admission schemes, on adapting to local life, on their welfare needs. If they have such needs, we can help. But we don't see the need for such tracking studies yet. If resources are there, we would rather look into why they fail to secure renewal of visas. And then the children for the dependents of the professionals is also something top of mind for us. We are gathering information on the different schooling needs of the children of such professionals. That's where our resources are going. But for sure, we will think of ways to gather more information. But we have to be clear, not everyone is forthcoming with their information. We cannot force people to give us information. And we have already gathered a lot more information from people under the TDPS than under other schemes.
Mr. Kingsley Wong, I want to ask about 121 about talent admission schemes. We are to develop into an international INT center. We need INT talents. And for tech tests, we have talents for cybersecurity, AI, data analytics, fintech, and green tech. There are 14 categories of talents we want, but I note in the 3 odd years, we only have 425 talents admitted. It seems that the scheme is not exactly popular. Why is that? We need such talents in Hong Kong, and trade unions often give their support and think we need these talents. And I know that for the 425, they have a number of dependents of 10,365, so one would be bringing 24 individuals with them. Is there something wrong with the figure? Because it doesn't make sense. Can you explain this? Secretary. Well, with the tech test, it is actually not under the purview of the Labor and Welfare Bureau. It is under the ITIB. And Mr. Wong's question is quite valid. There's no way the number of dependents admitted to Hong Kong would be 10,365. Well, I think there is probably a typo, but we'll confirm with the ITIB and give a written reply. I can't speak on behalf of the ITIB why after quite a number of years we only admitted 400 odd people, but I would say tech talents can come to Hong Kong through different schemes. If they can come under the Top Talent Pass scheme, they would have gone for that because it's much faster. Some of them came under Quality Migrant Admission Scheme. We also have under the General Employment Policy and the Talent List, different tech job categories. So the tech test is actually a very specific scheme. We actually have quite a number of tech talents coming under different schemes already. About the question on 10,365, let me convey this to the Bureau. Thank you. Mr. Holden Chow. Thank you. I want to follow on 080. It is a question of Miss Grace Chan. I have some follow-up questions. According to the reply, as at February this year, we had 43,979 top talents have their periods lapse, and 22,700 odd individuals have already submitted an extension application. That is already over 50%. But then, if their period has already lapsed, they should do it as soon as possible, or do they have to do it before the period lapses, or afterwards you will give them some time still to extend their visas? I also want to ask a question. Why some chose not to extend their stay? I want to know more about this. In the reply, we have quite a lot of details. We have 25% of the talents making a monthly income of over $80,000. So I think they are indeed top talents. We do have a good extension rate of 50%, but I am concerned if there are issues that have caused them to leave, or is it the case that there is still time after the lapse that they can apply for an extension of stay? Secretary. Thank you, Mr. Chow. Actually, Mr. Chow's understanding is quite correct. This is a standard way of counting the numbers, and at the end of February, if they did not apply for an extension of stay, they cannot apply for an extension of stay. So this figure is actually very accurate. It's 22,735. So approximately 50% of those admitted would apply for an extension, and 93% or 94% of them can get an extension. Some didn't choose to apply for an extension probably because they thought they could not meet the requirements, or there were other reasons for them not to stay in Hong Kong. But let me say this, the relevant arrangements are actually similar to those in other jurisdictions, and we have actually had better results. We can have top talents come to Hong Kong before they actually get jobs. And you have to understand this is a mutual process. It's like one is dating another. One does not necessarily have to marry someone. If they have a good relationship, they may choose to get married. This is exactly how the Top Talent Pass scheme works. And we are quite successful in this sense that every 2 couples, we have 1 couple staying together. So we want to provide support as much as we want, but they would need to make the decision on whether to stay. Mr. Ray Wong, I want to ask about 129 about continuing education fund. The government has been investing in the supercomputing center, and I also think that it's good we have an infrastructure-led approach. The BPA agrees with what the secretary said. We definitely need to really see if we are compatible in a relationship. But then for the category of computer science, we only have 2,000 odd individuals. I would want to say the traditional business management qualifications will soon be replaced by AI and other technology. If we are deploying resources to train managers and clerks that will be replaced by AI, this is not ideal. We need to keep abreast with the times. We need to adopt a 2-pronged approach with training. First, we have to do more in curriculum design. Often, the AI courses are only limited to chatbots. As the founder of NVIDIA said, natural language is an edge. We need to learn how we can make use of AI to enhance logic and depth. And what we need is for AI to have 3D modeling, to do 3D modeling or preventive maintenance. And I suggest the administration can include some engineering education in the computational infrastructure and make modeling a mandatory subject. We should also focus on quality instead of quantity. We should have resources deployed to computational infrastructure, industrial data security, and advanced industrial technologies. These are high value added areas. We really need to create value out of technology. Thank you. Secretary, thank you, Mr. Wong. Mr. Wong has great views about how we can promote new quality productive forces. I'm not against this at all. Even with the ERB renewed as Upskill Hong Kong, we can not only provide AI-related training. We need to understand the target group is the general public. There may not be experts. If we are training top talents, we should leave it to universities because these are top academic institutions. For the general public, general workers, if they are worried that they will be replaced by AI, if we can provide them with such training on knowledge and skills for them to retain their jobs, we will focus on that. And we will also do more promotion with the arrangements of the Continuing Education Fund. If we have more people taking the course, that's great. We can only provide encouragement. We cannot limit the options available. It's just like food. We can not only ask people to eat Chinese food. We can only encourage them to eat Chinese food because it's healthy. And we will see in the next few years whether we will have changes in the number of people studying different courses. Thank you. Mr. Lan Wai-kong, I want to ask about 040 about imported workers. I note in the reply of the administration with the adjustment made to the supplementary labor scheme, we have over 100,000 workers imported. I also note for some occupations or industries, we have a relatively high unemployment rate. Would we have for the specific industries measures to safeguard local employment? We had the secretary talk about for 2 specific occupations, we have some measures, for example, adjusting the manpower ratio and lengthening the recruitment period. Is there any room for us to extend the arrangements to other occupations or industries that have a relatively high unemployment rate? Second, if we have for some industries the unemployment rate reaching a certain level, according to the administration's reply, the administration is undertaking a review of the enhanced supplementary labor scheme. During the review, will we include the 26 occupations that do not allow importation, or would we have the manpower racial reference so as to make sure we prioritize local employment? Secretary, thank you, Mr. Lan Wai-kong. The 100,000 is the quotas, but we only have 48,000 workers who are actually in Hong Kong because companies don't really make use of all of the approved quotas. So we only actually have 48,000 workers imported into Hong Kong. And as Mr. Lam Chen-sing said, we have some dynamic assessments. Mr. Lam Wai-kong also said this actually. If there is such a need, we will make adjustments. As I said earlier, for the 2 occupations in the F&B industry, waiters or waitresses and junior cooks, we have lengthened the local recruitment period. We also asked employers to take part in on-site job fairs. We have seen the measures being quite effective. We need to have regard to the actual circumstances to see if these arrangements should be extended to other occupations. We do not rule out such possibility, and if we see a similar circumstances, we will extend the arrangements to other occupations. As for what Mr. Lam said about other potential measures to be implemented for the 26 occupations, we will consider them in our review, and in the end, we'll make an announcement to the public. We expect to complete this review in the middle of this year. Thank you. Mr. Chong Ho Feng. Thank you. I want to follow up on my question 019. The administration said they are making targeted adjustments. For example, for the 2 occupations of junior cooks and waiters or waitresses, the ratio has been adjusted. But I note in 2023 for the retail and accommodation and F&B industry, we have seen the unemployment increase to 5.3% in 2025. Will we adjust the ratio from 2 to 1 to 3 to 1 or 4 to 1? I also want to follow up on 020. Right now, we have public sector construction sites amounting to 850. For private sector, it's 792. According to 2025 figures, we have actually threefold the number of fatalities in private sector sites compared to public sector sites. We have actually 6 more cases compared to 2024. Are there differences with enforcement that has caused this?
Secretary, Mr. Vincent Fong will take the second question on site safety. Now, on imported labor, as I said in my earlier replies, we dynamically adjust the scheme. I want to highlight that our previous changes had to do with the 2 job types in the catering sector. Among all the imported workers under the ESLS, the workers in the catering sector made up half of them, and half of that number covered these two job posts, so that's a quarter of the overall figure. Given the share of all the jobs involving imported workers, that warranted extra measures for us to ensure that jobs go to local workers first. But the retail sector is a different story because the share of imported workers is much smaller in retail. It's a very small share, so we're not comparing apple to apple. But we have to be pragmatic in our work. Now, Mr. Vincent Fong will take the question about site safety. For inspections, our approach is the same for public and private construction sites. For public construction sites, the government takes inspection seriously. Many officers keep an eye on things. For private sites, those sites vary in size and scale. They also use different equipment. So every site is unique. For smaller sites, they lack the manpower and equipment of larger sites. Private sites may not be using the latest technology. The Development Bureau adopts the 4S system, Smart Site Safety System. Smaller private sites may be reluctant to adopt such technology. So that's why you see this discrepancy between public and private sector sites. We will keep looking out for things during inspections. There will be promotion of use of technology. Thank you. So will you commit more resources to inspections of smaller sites? We take a risk-based approach in deploying manpower. We send officers to different sites for inspections. Thank you. If no other member wishes to speak, I will conclude the session here. Thank you all. That concludes the meetings of this. Now we do have some closing remarks. Now, in deliberating over the government's 2026-27 estimates, we have held 21 sessions of meetings. We thank government officials and members for their participation. Our next meeting will be held on the 24th of April. Before the meetings end, the Appropriation Bill 2026 will resume second reading debate on the 22nd of April. Thank you.